You think you know what's possible with a basic set of tools and a little bit of grease? Think again. What if I told you that the rusty, forgotten bicycle sitting in the back of your garage right now could easily become a high-performance electric machine capable of leaving traffic in the dust? You've probably seen standard, overpriced e-bike conversion kits online that cost a fortune and take weeks to arrive. But this is completely different. We are talking about a brilliant, unorthodox engineering trick that takes a powerful 500-watt motor and completely transforms a simple two-wheeler into an absolute speed demon. It is so unbelievably simple, yet so incredibly effective that even advanced engineering professors would look at this setup and wonder why they didn't think of it first. If you have ever wanted to cruise down the street effortlessly without dropping thousands of dollars on a commercial electric bike, you are going to want to pay close attention to every single step of this build. The secret lies in taking a heavy-duty 24-volt 350 to 500-watt brushless motor and figuring out a genius way to mount it directly to a standard bicycle frame. Most people would look at a motor like this and assume it belongs strictly inside an industrial machine or a specialized scooter. They would think the mounting brackets wouldn't align or that the chain drive would be a total nightmare to configure. But that is exactly where the average person gives up and where real backyard innovation begins. To start off this wild project, you have to get your hands dirty with the core component, which is modifying the drive shaft of the brushless motor itself. You see, these motors don't just come ready to accept a bicycle chain right out of the box. The shaft is usually smooth or threaded for a completely different type of gear. So the first move is to carefully prep the shaft by cleaning up any factory residue and selecting a specialized compact sprocket that perfectly matches the pitch of a rugged motorcycle chain. To ensure everything stays locked down under intense torque, you drop a solid washer over the threaded shaft and use a heavy-duty hammer to firmly tap the sprocket into a perfectly flush position. This ensures there is absolutely zero wobble when the motor starts spinning at thousands of rotations per minute. Once the sprocket is seated nicely, you screw on a locking nut and grab a massive open-ended wrench to torque it down with serious force. You cannot have any play in this connection because a loose sprocket at high speeds means a thrown chain, a destroyed motor, or worse, a nasty crash. Now that the motor is prepped and ready to bring the power, you have to turn your attention to the donor bicycle. For this build, we're using an old battle-tested blue BMX bike that has definitely seen better days. It's got rust on the chain, scratches on the paint, and the pedals are practically begging for retirement. But underneath all that wear and tear, it has a solid steel frame, which is exactly what we need to handle the extra weight and mechanical stress of a fast electric motor. You flip the bike completely upside down so it rests securely on its handlebars and seat, giving you unhindered access to the bottom bracket and the rear wheel assembly. The old rusty pedal chain has got to go, so you pop it off the gears to clear the stage for the big transformation. Next comes the real magic of the build, which involves cutting the frame apart to make room for our new power plant. This is the exact moment where most traditional mechanics would start panicking, but it is necessary to achieve a clean, integrated look. You grab a powerful angle grinder fitted with a sharp cutting disc, and as the sparks start flying in every direction, you slice right through the thick steel tube directly behind the bottom bracket. You have to be precise here, measuring twice and cutting once to ensure you remove just enough metal to create a perfect cavity for the motor to sit in. After a few seconds of intense grinding, the section pops right out, leaving a clean opening. But you can't just slap a heavy motor into an open gap without a proper support structure. You need a rock-solid engine stand. To create one from scratch, you take two thick rectangular steel plates and align them side by side on your workbench. You fire up a rigging rig, and with a brilliant flash of blue light and a cloud of smoke, you lay down a series of strong tack welds to fuse the two plates together into a single massive mounting base. You tap away the slag with a hammer and clean up the joint with a wire brush until it's smooth and structurally sound. With the base plate formed, you need to drill out the precise holes that will allow the motor to bolt down securely. You place the heavy steel plate on the bed of a heavy-duty drill press. After marking your drill points with a marker, you bring the spinning bit down, cutting through the thick metal while metal shavings pile up around the hole. You repeat this process for all 4 mounting corners, ensuring everything lines up perfectly with the factory holes on the motor's base. Once the holes are drilled, it's time to join the motor to its custom-built steel throne. You drop the brushless motor onto the plate, line up the holes, and slide heavy-duty bolts right through the chassis. You spin on the nuts by hand, then grab your wrenches to tighten each one down in a cross pattern, making sure the motor is completely immovable. Now you have a unified, self-contained power unit that is ready to be integrated into the modified bicycle frame. You take this heavy assembly and test fit it directly into the cut section of the blue bike frame. To ensure the chain will align flawlessly with the rear wheel, you slide a high-strength motorcycle sprocket onto the rear hub and link it up with a thick motorcycle chain. This heavier chain is absolutely essential because a standard flimsy bicycle chain would snap instantly under the brutal acceleration of a 500-watt electric motor. You adjust the position of the motor assembly until the chain has the perfect amount of tension, then clamp it firmly into place against the remaining frame tubes. To permanently secure the motor unit to the bike, you create a heavy-duty custom bracket out of scrap steel angle iron and weld it directly to the frame. You strike an arc, dragging the welding rod along the seam where the new bracket meets the old frame, permanently fusing them together. To make sure the weld is clean and free of hidden weak spots, you take a wire brush and vigorously scrub down the area, removing all the burnt residue until the bright, shiny metal is exposed. With the mechanical fabrication fully complete, the final phase of the project is all about the electronics. You mount a heavy-duty battery pack securely to the frame to provide the necessary juice. Then you wire up a 24-volt electric bicycle speed controller IC, which acts as the brain of the entire machine, regulating the flow of electricity from the battery to the brushless motor based on how much throttle you give it. You carefully connect the thick power cables, insulate the joints to prevent any short circuits, and tidy up the wiring along the frame. You flip the bike back onto its wheels, and just like that, the transformation is complete. What started as a rusty, discarded piece of junk is now a high-velocity, custom-engineered electric ride. You step onto the pedals, twist the throttle, and the motor instantly screams to life, propelling the bike forward with incredible acceleration. It cruises effortlessly down the asphalt, proving that with a little creativity and some basic tools, you can build something truly extraordinary. If you loved seeing this wild engineering build come to life, make sure to smash that like button, leave a comment with your thoughts on this design, and follow for more insane DIY inventions. By the way, I'd love to know, where are you watching this from? Drop your location in the comments so I can personally thank you.